You're listening to Let's Talk a Little Shop with me, Stephanie Beringhele, your professional podcasting resource for staying on trend and connecting you to the news that matters in the retail world. Let's talk a little shop. Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk a Little Shop. I'm your host, Stephanie Beringhele, and joining me today is Ben Saltzman with Kitty Hawk Kites. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Stephanie.
Well, we want to know a little bit more about you. So go ahead. We want to see, how did you come to be in this role and who is Ben?
So I've been the marketing director here for about 5 years. So obviously we're located in the Outer Banks, very near Kitty Hawk, where the Wright brothers first flew. So I transplanted here from New York. My wife and I decided to move down here about 5 years ago.
Okay.
She owns a wedding cake business, and
Ooh.
I've been a marketing professional for a while. I was actually in the architecture industry for about 12 years, heading up marketing departments for a few of the largest architecture firms in the world. I worked for the firm that designed the New World Trade Center, for instance.
It's amazing.
No, it was a great time. I learned a lot about architecture. I always said that I was like an architect because I had to talk about architecture the way architects do, but I didn't have any specialized training. We were looking for a change. We got married in the Outer Banks.
Okay.
A few years before we moved down here. We had been visiting for years. This was a place where we would vacation with our family. So when it was, time to pick a new location, this just made a lot of sense to us. A very popular wedding destination. So my wife, who makes wedding cakes, this was a kind of a no-brainer place for her business. And I was a kite flyer because when I would vacation here, I would pick up kites at Kitty Hawk Kites, typically a new one every year, different kinds of stunt kites. And I just got hooked, and I met the president and CEO on the hill, that was, we call it, which is the Dunes of Jockey's Ridge. There was a kite festival going on. We struck up a conversation, and lo and behold, here I am.
I have never flown a kite before, and I'm disappointed to say that I have not done it, and my two kids have not done it. So if we ever make our way your direction, you're going to have to teach us how to do it, because I feel like a terrible parent for it.
Well, it really is a fun activity, and it's so easy to do. So let's get one in your hands as quickly as possible.
I know. So now tell me a little bit about Kitty Hawk Kites, because you have a very unique, you have a dual approach, because you've got the retail space, but then you also have this amazing adventure recreational. So let's dig into the retail stores first and tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So we have 28 brick and mortar stores.
Okay.
We actually have 3 major brands. So we've got Kitty Hawk Kites, which is kind of the umbrella brand for everything that we do. But we also have Kitty Hawk Surf Company, and we operate a number of standalone Life is Good shops.
Okay.
We're a licensed partner of theirs as well. So we operate actually from Maine to Florida. We started here in the Outer Banks, but we've expanded into coastal communities on the East Coast of the U.S. that makes sense for us. We're like a family-friendly vibe, right? Where you go to the beach and you're looking for a place to grab a t-shirt, grab a kite, maybe a jigsaw puzzle for a rainy day, sweatshirt for grandma who couldn't make the trip. That's what Kitty Hawk Kites is. We're sort of a destination shop when you're in a coastal environment like the Outer Banks, or like Long Beach Island, New Jersey, or Virginia Beach, or the Crystal Coast. So that's Kitty Hawk Kites. The surf company vibe is much more sort of surf apparel. We sell hard goods, Hobie kayaks, surfboards, stand-up paddleboards, things like that. But then really all of the surf apparel brands that you're probably familiar with. And then Life is Good is, the optimistic apparel and accessories that they sell. So we've got a number of those shops. So that sort of makes up our brick and mortar retail footprint. But yes, we have a recreational business as well. So we actually started as a hang gliding school back in 1974.
Okay.
So our president and founder that I mentioned, his name's John Harris. He saw a picture of somebody flying a hang glider in the Winston-Salem Journal back in 1973. It was just, a photo of someone flying. And he was taken by that image. And
blown away. He was blown away from it.
Completely blown away. And he found where he could buy a hang glider, mail order, had it shipped to himself, assembled it, on Jockey's Ridge, and with some friends just started to learn how to fly it. And, when he had a great flight, he thought to himself, there's no way everybody in the world wouldn't also want to do this.
Yeah.
So he started a hang gliding school, operating out of a small garage space right across the street from what's now Jockey's Ridge State Park.
Starting it from the ground up, he fully invested. It's such a great story that he was able to take it from that and then expand it to having now 3 different divisions of the stores plus this recreational. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, so we're actually about to celebrate our 50th anniversary next year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, we're planning on some really big celebrations for that. But yeah, I mean, it was a hang gliding school. He was selling hang gliders, repairing hang gliders, and started selling T-shirts, and that grew to more products. And then he had enough money to build a store, and in that store, we sort of grew into, a large. We're the largest, kite retailer, brick and mortar. So it's just a fun business, and it's really a great time to be able to connect with our customers when they're on vacation and they're just looking to have some fun.
They're in great moods, which definitely helps. And it's a testament of time for you guys to be 50 years is huge. And that means you've seen the highs, the lows. What do you think has kind of helped you stay current and in business for so long?
When it comes to sort of trends, we have a robust buying department that attends shows like ASD and a whole bunch of others.
So Expo, you guys have been to IGS. We love you here at Emerald. You guys are great supporters. We love it.
Yeah. So definitely, trying to identify what are going to be the hot products, because that's, what keeps you relevant. But, our mission is to teach the world to fly. And that, it starts with flying kites, or it starts with your first hang gliding lesson. But it really leads to just this overall, sort of vibe we have as an organization, to try to lift people's spirits, to create excellent customer service experiences for them. And I don't know, it just sort of translates to everything we do. We're a very optimistic organization, and we're here to have a good time and to spread those good vibes with our customers.
And those memories. I mean, vacation is everything. I remember every single vacation my family took because it was unique. We couldn't really afford a lot, so when we did go out, it was amazing. So in terms of these memories and everything, do you use social platforms a lot, or how do you capture some of those moments?
We do.
Okay.
Certainly, social media is a really powerful tool to be able to communicate with your customers, not in just a one-way direction, but sort of a two-way street, which is, really important to us. We are always asking for our customers to share their stories with us. One thing we're going to be launching as we lead into our 50th anniversary celebration is a portal on our website in order to collect those stories.
Okay.
Because we always hear, oh, we've been coming here for the past 30 years. Our dad brought us here, and now we're bringing our kids here, and we've always picked up a kite at Kitty Hawk Kites. But we're talking to customers like that all the time, because it really is. I mean, it's so impactful, that memory and you're going to feel it for yourself when you finally get out there and fly a kite. But there's nothing quite like when setting it into the wind. It brings a smile to your face immediately. So there's no way around that. And people remember that experience. Yeah. And then the Outer Banks, we're very lucky. It's a drive to destination. So people are coming from all across the East Coast, a lot of people from Virginia and Pennsylvania and Ohio and Michigan. And they drive to the Outer Banks, and that's their yearly vacation. And they do it year after year. Sometimes they stay in the same rental home year after year. So it really becomes a tradition. We're just, happy to be able to be a part of that tradition for them.
I love that you're doing that, because you're creating this community, and it's a repeat business model, right? Mm-hmm. And because they have such good feelings about it, they want to come back. And then the next generation wants to come back. So I want you to keep us posted on how the website launch goes, because that's going to be amazing. What a great way to funnel in those experiences and those stories. And they're going to be authentic stories, which is great.
Yeah, it's going to be a way for us to tell our story in an interactive way. So it'll be at kittyhawk.com, which has been our website for as long as we've had a website. So yeah, we're going to be able to use it as a tool to tell that story more effectively, because a lot of really interesting and sometimes crazy things have happened over those 50 years. And yeah, it's a way to sort of have an inbound communication with our customers. And, I remember this time we were there and, the hurricane was coming through. So there's always fun, windy stories here in the Outer
Yeah.
Banks.
So it's so interesting. So I had met one of your buyers, Kevin, at the last ASD Market Week in Las Vegas, and we got to go on the Tesla Loop. Which, if you haven't been on it, it is so fun. It was my first time, but he got stuck in a car with me, poor guy. And we were talking about your brand, and he was like, we're trying to recruit and get people to come work for us. And he goes, and we're getting savvy with what people want to go and work for you, right? Because recruiting right now, if anyone went to the NRF recently, that's been a big topic amongst all companies, small, large. It's not only recruiting talent, but we're training them and making them longtime, partners of the company. So what's going on in that world for you?
In recruiting, it's we are doing everything we can to find the right people. So, as a retail and recreation business model, we've got positions throughout the organization. We've got certainly store manager or assistant manager, key holder type positions in our retail environments, which is this frontline opportunity to actually directly connect with those customers. Which, as I said, our customers are really a lot of fun. But then we've got positions. We're looking for hang gliding instructors. I mean, if you want to come out here and teach people to hang glide, we'd love to have you. We've got positions in recreation as well, and in reservations. We've got e-commerce positions available, which I didn't even talk about. We've got 4 e-commerce platforms.
Oh wow!
In addition to the 28 brick and mortar stores. And corporate positions, we're hiring throughout our organization. We're a really dynamic type organization. I like to think of us as the sort of flat line, because the opportunities here are we're not this like very steep vertical type organization. We're very collaborative.
Okay.
I've seen people move from brick and mortar into the e-commerce department into something, they were really good at organizing the warehouse, and maybe they're running our warehouse now. And that sort of thing happens all the time here. So the dynamicism of our organization, I think, is one of our strengths, and certainly our beautiful environment. It really goes along.
That would be very appealing. Yeah. Seeing pictures, that's definitely a perk of the trade. And I think Kevin had mentioned that, I don't know if it was part of the internship or you're doing some kind of program where housing is available too, right?
We do. We have housing available. So we have internships. We have full-time positions. One of the efforts that our president and CEO has made over the past few years, because unfortunately on a barrier island, land is finite. So there's trying to acquire as much housing as possible so that we can house the seasonal workers. But in addition, we do have some longer term housing options available. So if you bring in a manager who'd be a perfect fit for your surf store, but they're in Kansas City, trying to be able to react to that as much as possible to get the right people on our team. So that's definitely an option we have here.
So smart. When my kids are older, I will send them your way because I'll know that they'll get to be in the outdoors. They're going to learn a craft, and then they might be able to get some housing. So it sounds beautiful.
Yeah. All right.
So just to kind of wrap everything up, one of the things that we're trying to do with this podcast is kind of give insight to the value of going to trade shows like an ASD Market Week. So I don't know if you have gone personally, but like I said, we always get to see your buying team. What does it mean to go to trade shows currently and finding that right product and making that money? Like what are your thoughts on that from the marketing side?
Well, if the buyers find the right products, it makes my job a lot easier.
Right.
And going to shows and connecting with new vendors, finding new hot products. I mean, that really goes a long way. Trends are really important. I mean, when shoppers are in your stores, having the stuff that they want, not just the stuff that you want to sell, is so important. So I know that, in speaking with Kevin, who, by the way, doesn't feel in any way like he was trapped on that vehicle with you. He had a blast, and that led to this conversation right here.
Right? It connected us. It's
Indeed.
perfect.
But yeah, I mean, he's brought back several brands that have performed really well in our stores,
Oh, good.
because that was the type of product that our customers connected with. So, these types of buying shows are absolutely critical to our operations.
I love it. And then just as a marketing person, what's something that you can recommend that you're having success with right now, or something that you're kind of having complications that you're trying to work on, improve, like from that world? What's going on in the marketing insight world?
Well, sure. I mean, economic conditions are this constant bobbing and weaving, and we're a tourist destination, but we're also dealing with economic impacts where
Yeah.
people in our feeder markets may be experiencing different economic conditions, maybe accelerated economic conditions that we're seeing. So, when they are here in the Outer Banks, we're competing for their dollars, and they can be spending that in the restaurants, or they could be cooking at their vacation home. They could be hanging out on the beach, or they could be hang gliding with us. So it's a matter of making sure that we are presenting what we offer in the
Yeah.
best possible light. Um, Explaining how it's different, explaining how it's going to really, in the cases of hang gliding or kiteboarding or a parasailing or a dolphin tour, how it can be a life-changing experience, in a lot of ways, and telling those good stories about people who have, had their lives changed by learning how to hang glide. I mean, there, just to take a moment, there was a veteran who
Uh-huh.
learned, it had become a life's goal for him to learn to hang glide. And he had been experiencing some challenges after his deployments. And he came and he took a few lessons with us, and he got into a tandem hang gliding lesson out at the Cotton Gym, which is the one where they tow you up and then the hang glider is released and you soar down. And through that process, through several of the trips to the Outer Banks, he connected with a new community, and it
Yeah.
really opened up his world. And it's just such a heartwarming story about how you know many of the things that we offer really can be life changing for people. And it's not that way for everyone. I mean, that's a unique story. It's not by any means, a rarity, because we do
Yeah.
hear a lot of those stories. But just grabbing a kite and going out to Jockey's Ridge and flying it at sunset, I mean, that's a family memory that you'll take with you. Yeah, finding new and interesting ways to share those stories, and to connect the products in our stores to what would be a successful family vacation. That's really our job as marketers.
Well, it's no wonder you are still in business and you continue to thrive with the three different divisions and the e-commerce and everything else. It's a feel good experience. So I am so happy that you and I got to chat today. And if anyone wants to connect with you or your team, what's the best way that they can reach out?
Well, you can find us anytime at kittyhawk.com. And our handles on every channel are at kittyhawk kites. So just, tag us, send us a message. We'd love to hear from you.
Perfect. And then I'm going to have to get my family over to the East Coast because I'm sold. I want to go do everything, and I want to shop. I want to go hang gliding. I want to do it all.
I've got a kite picked out for you already.
Yay! Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, we will see you soon.
Thanks for listening to Let's Talk a Little Shop. For more episodes, be sure to subscribe to this podcast in iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, or Spotify. And you can help us grow our reach by simply giving us a like, share with friends, comment, and of course, we love positive ratings. Till next time, stay on trend.